This show is produced by the Harwood Podcast Network.
Hi, I'm Cindy Harris, and we love making this show available to you free of charge. If you'd like to help us keep it that way, make a contribution to our Karma Jar or become a show sponsor. To learn more, visit our website. Today I'm making a New Orleans muffuletta. A muffuletta is a giant sandwich, and I think the only place you can get it is in New Orleans. It's layered with meats and cheeses and this wonderful olive salad. It's great for a party or picnic. Now for our muffuletta, we need to start by getting the bread ready first. And to begin with, get a couple of pieces of foil out because we're going to be wrapping the whole thing in foil, and it's easier to build right on the foil, then you don't have to move it around. I'm going to start by getting a large round loaf of bread like this. This is actually sourdough, but get whatever kind of bread you can. It's traditionally always round in shape though, so see if you can find that. And with a serrated knife, I'm going to cut the bread in half. So the way I do it is I keep it flat on the board and I just sort of start cutting it, turning it as I go, and then I lift the top off. Now you can see this is a really dense bread, and I'm going to be putting a lot of filling in here, so I want to remove some of this bread. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my hand and I'm softly going to pull out some of that soft inner bread, both on the bottom and the top. Now this leftover bread is great for breadcrumbs, so you can just put that in a bag in the freezer, and then the next time you need fresh breadcrumbs, you can use that. Now that I've got my bread ready, I'm just going to set it over here to the side on top of the foil while I get my olive salad ready. Now get a medium-sized bowl out, and we're first going to start by chopping up some olives. Now the first kind we're going to use are green olive, and these have a pimento stuffed in the middle. So I'm going to get a bunch of those out on my cutting board, and I'm going to start chopping them up. Now you can see I've run through them one time, but this is still more of a slice and I want them to be chopped. Then I'm going to go back the other way, and I'm just going to keep chopping these until they're about a medium-sized chop. And once I've got about a cup and a half of the chopped olives, I'm going to put those in my bowl. And then I'm going to chop up some Kalamata olives and make sure that the pits have been removed. And again, I want these in a medium-sized chop. And I'm going to add a half a cup of Kalamatas to my bowl. And next I'm going to add some pickled vegetables. Now here in the States it's called a jardinera, and basically what it is it's cauliflower and carrots and little onions and red bell peppers and celery and all kinds of vegetables like that, and they have been pickled in this vinegar solution. And so I'm going to get a nice combination of these vegetables, and I'm going to chop those up into a medium chop as well. And I'll add a cup of the chopped jardinera, then 2 tablespoons of capers, 3 cloves of garlic that I'm going to put through my mincer, and then from the garden I got some fresh herbs. And I'm going to chop up about a tablespoon of parsley and a tablespoon of oregano, and I'm going to strip the leaves off of it first, and then I'll chop that up nice and fine. And then I'll chop up a tablespoon of fresh basil, and then I'll take all the herbs and put those in the bowl as well. Then to give it just a little zip, I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of some crushed red pepper flakes, and then 1 green onion that I've chopped up. Now for the dressing, I'm going to put in 3 tablespoons of red wine vinegar and 1/4 cup of some olive oil. Then some fresh ground black pepper, and then with a large spoon, I'm just going to toss this all together. And along with the olive salad, we put some delicious meats and cheeses. I've got some Italian salami, some smoked ham, and some slices of provolone. Now we're going to start putting our muffuletta together. So get your bread, and we're going to take the top and the bottom and separate them on our foil. And I'm going to start by putting some of the olive salad in the bottom, and I'm also going to put some in the top. Then I'm going to start by layering some cheese and some ham and some salami. I'm doing this all on the bottom piece, and then I'm going to put some more salad on top of that, and then I'll put another layer of cheese and ham and salami. One last little layer of salad, and then just one final layer of cheese. And then I'm going to take the top and put that on top and kind of press it down. And I'm going to take the foil and I'm going to wrap this up, and I'll need that second piece to go right on top. Now, before you bake your muffuletta, you are going to want to put it on a baking sheet just in case there are any openings in your foil. You don't want the cheeses to drip out into your oven. But another thing I wanted to tell you is muffuletta is really great made a few hours in advance before baking. That way all that great olive salad and the olive oil can flavor the bread and the meats and the cheeses. So I'm actually going to put mine out in the refrigerator for a couple of hours before I bake it for dinner. Now, when you are ready to bake your muffuletta, you'll want to put it on a baking sheet and preheat your oven to 350 degrees, and then leave it in the oven covered in foil for about a half an hour until it's heated all the way through. Now, once it's heated through, I'm going to unwrap the foil, and I should see that the cheese is nice and melted like this, and I'm going to slide it onto a cutting board. And the way you serve this is you want to get a nice serrated knife, and you're just going to cut it into wedges. So I start by cutting it in half, and then when I open it up you can see all of that great filling. Oh my God, it looks fantastic. Now this is a nice piece of muffuletta. Now, if you'd like to try this muffuletta at home, just go to our website and visit the easy, entertaining show notes, and I'll have the recipe there for you. And as always, if you have any questions, please send me an email. I'll see you next time.